another level time, let's go. This time we got the Furry Chlorine Gas Attack.
There's holidays in the city, with plenty of furries turning out to take place in the convention, pop in on the poker tournament, participate in
poker
auctions,
tournament.
and check out the panels. After hours, the furries like to partake in oodles of alcohol and get hammered until their fursuits were full of chunks. Said partying was taking place on Saturday night, going all the way up into the early hours of Sunday. It was shortly after midnight at the Hyatt that many convention goers
How many subs for streamer to wear a fursuit?
A particularly
Thanks for reminding me to turn off TTS. It would have to be a lot of subs, considering they're expensive as fuck, so...
Noxious odor, one that smelled chemical in nature. Several people were forced to move out of their hotel rooms and onto the balconies to get some air. Many others were reportedly having itchy, red eyes and trouble breathing. Eventually, a few convention goers in room 963 of the hotel decided to
Bro, the room specific and everything?
At around 12:45 a.m.,
write that down,
firefighters were informed by 911 dispatchers of a possible chemical leak, or maybe even a chemical attack within the hotel, being told that many of the attendees had reported a strong smell of chlorine throughout the building, mainly coming from the staircase. One member of the Midwest Furfest staff, one by the name of Phoebe Lewis, felt that the whole thing was only a bit of the usual drunken debauchery, stating, "It was at night during the convention. Many of them had had a few drinks, so our medical team just assumed, oh well, somebody spilled something on the stairs, maybe a maid did it or something." It was only fairly late in the evening that it really became clear somebody had done something deliberately. Phoebe planned on ignoring the whole thing, feeling that it was probably something mundane. Maybe some sort of weird chemical reaction had been triggered by the lighting of a cigarette. She was already in her pajamas and didn't really want to get out and deal with any problem, until she had to, that was. On her way to visit a friend in their hotel room, she was told by another hotel guest that they needed to evacuate immediately. She didn't even have enough time to grab a jacket or anything warmer than her pajamas before heading to the stairwell. It was here that she was hit with the most pungent of odors, something that felt toxic. She said, "It smelled, for all the world, like the worst pool shock you've ever been around. Like it was eye-stingingly bad, even outside the hotel." While the hotel guests were leaving the building, many others were still entering. This included local law enforcement, hazardous material technicians with full-on hazmat suits, the FBI, the Chicago Counterterrorism Unit, and even the Mass Destruction Unit. On top of all of that, reporters with flashing cameras and small news crews were trying to force themselves into the building and try to see what was going on. At first, people were allowed to stay on the dance floor and within the lower area of the convention, but eventually even those attendees were evacuated at around 1:10 a.m. Everyone in the hotel was forced to either stand outside in the bone-chilling December Chicago.
This is such an image, bro. Just this dude chilling right here, and then there's just... That's gotta be so, like, just surreal. Like, I don't know, like, there's something about it, it's so wild.
Weather, or to shelter in nearby buildings, like the Stevens Convention.
It's just literally like a two universes crossing.
Hotel, hoping to see what all the fuss had been about. Over those 2 hours, hazmat technicians were working on decontaminating the area while the FBI and the local authorities continued their investigation. Meanwhile, things were getting a bit chaotic outside the hotel as many of the still very drunk furries were fairly unable to grasp or comprehend the situation at hand. A man named Thomas Sell, who was 27 at the time, was one of the attendees standing outside.
Look at the white... I think that's a cat. Look at them like being like the hype man with his arms crossed, like, yeah.
Hotel.
Yeah.
He and many others had been on the dance floor that night when they were forced to evacuate. While many of the furries had engaged in a bit of chaos at past conventions, such as pulling the fire alarms at night, this time felt different. He described the general thought process of the group as, a lot of people thought this was just someone pulling the fire alarm, but it was serious this time. 2 other furries who came all the way from
Nonce alert? Oh, never mind.
And Chris Delaney
never mind,
said that they didn't even hear the alarms or the calls to evacuate in their part of the building. They only knew what was happening after getting some text messages from their friends urging them to leave the building as quickly as possible.
I don't recognize any of these people,
Standing outside
so...
the hotel in a red panda suit said that they smelled a strong scent of chlorine while exiting the building, adding, "It was shocking." Chris added, "It was like when you walk into a pool. It was pungent." Many others within the crowd
Great
weren't
word.
quite as coherent. It was said that many of them had been forced out of the hotel in various states of undress. Some of them were out in the cold in nothing but light pajamas or even in their underwear. Many of the others had been getting a bit festive at the time, being forced out into the streets in full-on fetish and bondage gear. Another attendee named Peter Van Heel, a science fiction writer and role-playing game designer from Ontario,
Ain't no
said,
way.
"One guy seemed to be trying to start a revolution.
Whoa.
Standing there and in a very loud, dramatic voice, he kept starting to deliver an inspiring speech, but would get like 3 or 4 words in and forget what he was saying and start again."
You need that one guy who shows his dad all the bad furries on TikTok. Wait, what? There's a TikTok of a guy who just shows his dad like controversial people who are furries, really? That's what I need from my kid. That's what I need. Or however many I end up with, whoever, whatever. I need them to just like, I need one of them to be like one of those kids that just tortures their like famous parent. Probably not gonna happen because I actually would like it, but yeah, famous. I say famous, but I have 13 viewers, so.
And a bunch of people told him to sit down. Meanwhile, inside the hotel, the firefighters finally came upon what seemed to be the origin of the problem. A broken glass bottle in the middle of the
Oh, right, my vacation. You're right, my bad.
Throughout most of the hotel, the open air alone was giving a reading of 4 on the chlorine meter.
Can I have my 8 other viewers back, chat?
The shattered glass was so intense that it maxed out their detection tools entirely. The firefighters reported back, saying, "Whatever the substance is, it is overloading our chlorine meter." Inside the glass jar was a white powdered substance. Once the hazmat team arrived to take their samples, they made 8 different swabs.
Did he make
Some
mustard
of them
gas?
were from the liquid around the jar, while others were of the powder itself. Some were taken from the jar, while others were taken from the walls and stairs.
Is it your shift? This is a reaction. We're doing reacting, so of course it's your shift.
But there was one thing that the crew didn't know at the time.
The one time you guys
Some
actually
of their
typed.
instruments were faulty and malfunctioning. This made most of the samples useless, with them later proving to be inconclusive in testing. The discovery of the chemical agent caused the firefighters to raise an EMS alarm at 1:03 a.m. and a hazmat alarm shortly after at 1:07 a.m. The EMS alert was elevated in intensity pretty shortly after, causing the firefighters to call 15 more ambulances out to the scene. Very quickly, about 19 people were transported to nearby hospitals in the area. Most of them were complaining of nausea, dizziness, and eye-related complications.
God, this level is so ass.
Many of them were
And
taken
whoever the
directly
fuck
from the
you are,
scene
this
or
is
were urged to go to
ass.
the hospital themselves after speaking to paramedics later on. Over the next couple of hours, 5 nearby hospitals became full of sick furries. Eventually, the building was cleaned out and was able to reopen at 4:21 a.m. However, even by that point, it still wasn't really known as to
What a shift that would be.
With the discovery of the unmarked glass jar, though, it definitely seemed to be a deliberate act, not somebody simply dropping some pool cleaning supplies or something along those lines. The organizers of Furfest made a statement that morning saying that Furfest would continue. They had been tweeting regularly during the whole panic, but the tweets offered very little info as to what was actually happening. They admitted that even they knew very little about the details of the evacuation. Due to that, many rumors began to circulate on social media, everything from a chemical leak to stories of an anti-furry mass murder attempt. Furfest organizers wrote, "As we wake up today, we want to continue to provide the best possible convention that we can, despite the trying circumstances. We ask you to continue to be patient and remember that the volunteers who make Midwest Furfest happen intend to give 110% to make sure that the fun, friendship, and good times of Midwest Furfest 2014 overshadow last night's unfortunate incident." More than anything, though, the Furfest organizers seemed to be concerned about a rumor that they would be offering refunds. They made a point to list both on Twitter and on their website that no money would be refunded, given that the entire thing was an unforeseen criminal act. It goes without saying that a full-on chemical attack on a furry convention made news headlines pretty quickly. After all, not only were attacks like this pretty uncommon in the first place, but happening
Let's
at a
fucking
furry
go!
convention made the
Oh
whole
my
thing
god,
more
I never have to see
titles.
this level ever again, bro. Nice. GG.